Within this instructional video, I am going to be demonstrating how to pull a ceramic handle so that it can be attached onto a mug. And what you're going to need is a bucket of water, a knife, and some clay. And your clay, all you really need it is in like a big kind of chunky coil, essentially. You still want to make sure that this clay is wedged to avoid any air bubbles or anything like that, but this is essentially what you are starting with. And what you're going to do is place that in your non-dominant hand like so, leaving a little bit at the top as I did there. And you're going to use your hand and kind of smash it nice and flat so that you have something to hold on to like so. Creates a nice little ridge there. And pulling a handle, really what you're doing is you're using your dominant hand to pull the clay downward. And in order to do that, you need to make sure that your hand is wet and the clay is wet. So it's constantly dipping in, pulling down, dipping in, pulling down, whatever it may be. So I will demonstrate here. You want to be cautious as well of the amount of pressure you're applying when you are pulling, because if you apply too much, it gets too thin or it can even break off. So there, I applied too much as well, and I have a weird little indent in my beginning handle here. So you just want to apply a small amount of pressure, and you're really trying to pull that clay down so it starts to form a thinner piece of clay there. And as it gets smaller, you're going to be able to use your hand to shape it into a shaped handle that you want. So I have a handle here that's nice and flat. And I did that by just really pulling down with my fingers like this, because that creates a nice flat shape. If you want it round, you can do something like that. But to get into any other shapes would be kind of hard. You could get into, it's really how you hold these two fingers of what the shape your handle is going to be. Notice I'm not just pulling in one direction. I'm pulling this way, I'm turning my hand, pulling this way, turning my hand, kind of pulling in all sorts of different directions. And anytime my clay gets too thin at the bottom, it just falls off and I put it to the side. It can be used later, re-wedged for a different handle. But this is going to help ensure that your handle is nice and even where it needs to be. And how big your handle is, how long it is all dependent on what you want your handle to look like on your mug. So you could make it a nice curved handle. You could bring this up and even add on to that. You can shorten it and make an even smaller handle. It's really up to you what type of handle you want to make. But I suggest practicing just pulling a few long forms like this. And then once you're done, you'll have a few to choose from and work with. Because once you're done, you just kind of set them here like that. Let them dry out a little bit, not too much, obviously. And then they'll be ready to attach onto your mug. So I suggest just pulling 3, 4, 5 handles to begin with to kind of get in the groove of things, and then kind of work with your handles from there. Good luck.